by which network and those type things. So I think it's probably, I would say by the end of this week and maybe first of next week, that would be a good timetable.
Scott, is Dominique Gates with the Courier-Journal. Kind of as a follow-up to that, I'm sure early on some of the you're not even going to play now. So during this period before you're waiting to find out who you will open up the season with, is it just more of honing in on what you're trying to do and establish, or do you at least kind of start to think about some future opponents?
No, I think probably in just in general terms, your first week and a half to 2 weeks, you're really working installation and fundamentals. So it really doesn't matter who you're going to play. I think maybe a little bit. I think defensive coaches and defensive side of the ball probably worried about it a little bit more because they want to say, all right, what's this team going to be running offensively? So how can we stop that? Offensively, we're going to run what we run. And in special teams wise, you're just going to be very fundamental in the first couple weeks anyway. So I think it really is not going to hurt us. I think for us, if we can find out, at least by the middle of next week, we should be in good shape. And then because at that point, after about a week and a half, 2 weeks, then you may start doing a period of really kind of working on that first opponent. Not the whole practice, but maybe just a segment of the practice. So I think we're in good shape right now. And like I said, at least by the middle of next week, we'll have that opponent.
Scott, Ken Spencer, HAS 11. Just the fact that the order and the lineup and stuff like that isn't set in stone, but just the fact that there is a schedule and you guys now have some sort of a plan. Have you been able to see a difference with your kids now that that's out?
Well, I certainly think that was a big positive, to at least put out a schedule, put out teams you're going to play, get a date that you can start the season, all those things, because prior to that, you were kind of just in limbo. And that just kind of got the ball rolling to say, all right, we're going to start this season. We're going to start practice here coming up. At this time, it had been next week, which was today. So, it was certainly a positive. There's so many negatives out there right now. I mean, every time you turn anything on, there's something negative. And so that was a breath of fresh air and a great positive for our guys. Because our guys are eager, they're hungry, and they want to play and they want to be out here. And and so that just kind of says, man, all right, there's a schedule, and this is going to be exciting. I think it'll happen again when we do find out in what order we're going to play everybody. I think again that'll be exciting as well. We got to set travel plans for those 5 road games, and because that's obviously changed, and so we're going to have to get that lined up. There's a lot of logistic things we're going to have to do, but just for the mental state of our guys, certainly a positive.
Yeah, Cameron again. Obviously, the offense, you bring back so many weapons, and there's been hype around the group. But I know you guys always work at trying to perfect a lot of things. So what are some things you've talked to them about that they need to maybe improve on or tweak a little bit to make sure this offense can reaches the height that you think it can reach?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of things we can get better at. I think, first of all, we got, several of our guys individually got some preseason accolades and all that type of thing. We talked about that last night, to where, nobody in this program ever did anything by themselves. I mean, we're all doing this together. I think if we continue to play for each other as one, then we'll have more guys to get individual accolades. And so, but we're proud of where we are offensively. I think one thing that I'm most proud of is the fact that now you got a lot of guys competing. So you mentioned there's a lot of guys back that made plays for us last year, but we got some other guys that are kind of waiting in the wings that are just as good. When they get their opportunity, they got to make those same plays. So what I like to see in practice is those guys competing on a daily basis, particularly that skill position and at offensive line. I mean, we're in a better spot with depth, more depth at offensive line than we had last year. And so I love the depth that we have built, in this year and a half that we've been here. And so those guys are competing. But you got to, some of the things we didn't do well last year, tackles for loss. We're one of the worst teams in the country, giving up sacks like we did. So those are the things we got to get better at. We're an explosive offense, and we can make some plays in the run and the pass down the field. We got to eliminate these negative plays, and that's the tackles for loss, the sacks, the penalties. And, if we can eliminate some of those plays, then we'll be that much more of an explosive offense. And that's exciting. I think if we can do that, then we should, can have a top 20 type offense this year in the country.
To Coach Michael McCammon, Cardinal Authority, kind of a similar question for the other side of the ball. Obviously, the defense made strides last year, but you got a lot of veterans coming back. What do you expect from the defense this fall?
Yeah, again, excited about year 2 with the same defense. I mean, that hadn't happened in a long time here at Louisville. And so, they're hearing the same language, the same terminology from our coaches. A lot of things that are positive with the defense. And today, it was, you can really see, it's visible to see the difference. Guys are flying around. They're in the spots that they needed to be. They caused some turnovers today defensively. They did some really good things. I think we've upgraded also with some depth. We brought some guys in, I think, that can help us on that side of the ball. And, I think, just having the same defense for the second year is going to help us tremendously. But I also think you mentioned we got a lot of our production back. I think maybe 6 out of top 7 tacklers are back. And just that experience is going to help. Those guys will be better this year. So again, I just think another year under the same system is going to help tremendously.
Scott, again with WHAS 11. Obviously, the conference games are set, but without being able to play the rivalry game with Kentucky, you guys got one other game out there. Do you have any input on who you guys might pick up for that one game?
No, that kid may have some input right there, though. I think, not really. I mean, I can kind of say what I'm going to say, but administration is going to kind of work all the things out with who we play. So we would assume it's going to be, one of the teams on our schedule, one of the other teams, Western Kentucky or Murray. I mean, so I don't know. Again, a lot of the conference out there, it looks like they're playing around 10 games, and we have maybe 11. So, we'll see whenever that presents itself what happens. I think probably when this schedule gets ready to come out, end of the week, first of next week, maybe at that point we'll figure out who it'll be. It may have to match up, depends on when our off dates are, and it matches up with one of those opponents. So I think that may have something to do with it. So we'll see how it works out.
Scott, from the Micale that you met when you first got here last December, when you guys started spring practice, to now, what do you think's changed about him, whether on the field or off the field, the most as he's kind of gained some confidence in the offense?
Man, you asked the question and answered it in the same realm right there. It's pretty good because it's confidence. I mean, that's what he's got. You could see that last year throughout the season, as he progressed and as he played by the end of the season, he felt so much more command of the offense. What we're trying to do, what are our objectives? Those are the things he had to get a lot better. That's just mental. And I think, and he's continued to that. I mean, I think he's had a really good summer, continuing to help the mental side of the game. He's got ability. I mean, he can run, he can throws a great deep ball. He's an accurate passer. He's one of the best last year. I mean, if you look at the passing efficiency, minus the one throw that I blame Rocco on because he didn't tell us, but minus that, I mean, he was one of the top. He was, I think, was it second in the country, and so he's accurate. He's got a great deep ball, and so just the mental side of that, he's gotten better and better. But he's playing with the confidence. I think that's the biggest thing with him is the confidence he's playing with. And I'm going to tell you what else. He's got a lot of weapons around him. If you're a quarterback and you look outside and you see, Fitzpatrick and Tutu and he's got Ford, he's got, Hawk and Hall in the backfield. I mean, he's getting, man, what a lot of weapons. Get the ball to those guys, and they're going to make you look good. And he's figured that out. And so, yeah, I'm excited, for him and where he's at. And I tell you, Puma's worked his tail off this summer. He's had a really good summer and looking good in camp. Evans looked good this summer. As we think about last year, all three of those guys had to play for us and help us win games last year, and probably going to be the same this year. So it's not just going to be one. So it's going to be all three of those guys to be able to come in here and help us win games.
Take one more question for Coach. Anyone?
Coach, Tim Sullivan from the Courier-Journal. Wanted to just get a handle on your feelings regarding the possible breakup of the Power Five and the NCAA if things don't go well with the Board of Governors today. How do you see that unfolding?
I had a hard time hearing you, but I think you said maybe a possible breakup of Power Five, breaking away from the NCAA. I really don't have any thoughts about that because it's kind of out of my realm and out of my wheelhouse there. You know, I'm focused on our athletes here and what we can do at University of Louisville. So, you know, if something like that happens, you know, goes down the road, then, you know, obviously we'll try to maneuver to the best of our ability here at Louisville. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, I've just heard some speculation out there, but I've heard that for years, you know, about, you know, Power Five. This was back 10 years ago when I was at App State. I mean, you know, kind of heard some of those rumors. So, you know, that's something that we'll cross if that happens. You know, there's so many different things going on, right? We're just trying to get through this practice number one. So, you know, we'll attack that one if anything like that comes down the road. Thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Coach.
And Micale, Cameron from the Courier Journal. Just kind of how was the first day, and how different was it to the first day of fall camps in the past?
It was not very different, but it was just good to get back out there with the guys, and great weather today, not too hot. So, I mean, guys, we had fun flying around. Defense looked very good today. Offense looked pretty good today. You know, it was just good just getting back out there as a whole. You know, it looked kind of different because I feel like we started a little since it's August, we already just started. And like last year, we started like sometime in July. So it's just good getting back out there.
Micale's Dominic Gates with the Courier Journal. You know, last season going into this point, you know, it was a quarterback battle trying to figure out who was going to be the guy. Now, heading into the start of fall camp, you know, it's pretty much your job. Changed your approach or mindset, maybe taking on that leadership role because, like I said, it is your job?
No, man. I attack every day with the same mentality to get better, make the guys around me better, and to be more of a leader because I am in that role. And so these guys look at me kind of different, so I got to know how to carry myself, just how I've been doing it.
Micale, this is Kent with WHAS 11. You know, there was so much kind of speculation and concern whether there was going to be a season, but to get a schedule, to know who you're going to play, did that alleviate a little stress for you guys and allow you to just kind of focus on your work?
Yes, it was really a lot of stress for me and the guys. I mean, when they came out with the schedule, man, we were knowing that we play the guys in the ACC, which is a good competition week in and week out. And so it's going to be a battle every week, and we're going to be ready for it.
Micale, this is Gary Graves from the AP. When you look at a practice like today, how would you kind of assess how your grasp of the offense, how far it's come since last summer and really since the end of last season?
I feel like I got a good grasp on it. Just being in it on the year two, just knowing the ins and outs. And Coach actually mentioned that today. Like last year around this time, he was like a little bit like a baby steps with us. And he mentioned today it's not like that no more. It's gonna be up tempo. Y'all gotta think on the run and things like that. So he's been mental challenging us, Coach Punch has.
Yeah. When you think back to the spring, having those early practices not too long after the bowl win, how much did that help with retention, and in what ways did that help?
Say it one more time.
Yeah, when you all had those early practices this spring, and it was not too long after the end of the season, how much did that kind of help with retention of the offense for you?
That helped a lot because a lot of schools didn't get to even start spring ball, and it was good that we got those 7 practices in. Just get those practices on our belt so we kind of knew what we was looking forward to going into this fall camp. And a lot of those young guys showed they can do a lot of things back in spring, and they came out today and skipped a beat.
Micale, Tim Sullivan from the Courier Journal. Obviously, football is very difficult to maintain social distancing, and there's so much contact. What are your levels of concern about that, given the virus and how many hits you're likely to take?
Well, honestly, me and a lot of those guys on the team, we've been doing this protocol, the health protocol, for like the last 3 months, and we've been doing a great job with it. So all of the outside people talking about the safety and stuff, we just want to play football, and that's all we here to do.
Micale, when you look at this offense, you bring back a ton of weapons around you. And it's an offense that's obviously getting a lot of hype from a lot of different outlets. but when you guys zero in on some of the things that you guys need to improve on to reach the level that you guys want to get to, what are some of those things you guys talk about?
Talked about it yesterday. For the offensive side, just bring that effort. I mean, our guys bring that effort day in and day out. And as a whole, as offense, we just want to execute more. That's one of the key words we talked about last night going to camp. Just the execution part. And once that settled in and we get doing that, things gonna get rolling.
Micale, hey, it's Jody Dimling with Cardinal Authority. What Coach just talked a few minutes ago about how you've improved a lot, but he also said that Puma had a good summer and Puma has improved a lot. What have you seen from him, and how are the other guys pushing you in the position?
We take that position very we don't take it lightly. Like all of us is competing for one spot, and then we just feed off each other. There's nobody against each other. We all there for one, and whoever's in the game, we all gonna be cheering for that person. And we so happen to be Puma, we all gonna be in for Puma. It happen to be me. Everybody has the same energy. Puma hasn't fallen off. He's doing pretty good. He's been looking good, and we have been competing. So that's kind of fun.
Any further questions?
Go
ahead.
I got one more for Micale. Obviously, the running back duo you have of Hawk and Hall, obviously, two very talented guys who could probably both run for 1,000 yards if they got all the carries. Just what kind of dynamic do they bring to the offense, both on and off the field?
Well, first, without those two guys, you got to give some credit to that O-line because those guys work day in, day out, and I feel like they don't get a lot of credit. So I had to mention that. But without them, that duo wouldn't be nothing. But when they're blocking and everybody executing, that's those two best running backs in the country, and I wouldn't rather have nobody else behind me besides them two.
Any further questions? All right,
Thank you.
hearing none. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Micale.
Thank y'all.